Good evening. I'm Mark Evanier, and this is another one of my Tuesday evening conversations with a friend of mine. Boy, have I got a friend this week. I'm very thrilled. I'm hearing him laughing in the background already. I haven't even put him on the screen yet.
I'm sorry.
Even before I met this man, he was one of my favorite cartoonists. Um, really a very smart, bright guy, and I found him in person to be one of the most delightful people I ever had. I'm sorry he's going to be so depressed for the next 90 minutes here. I want you to meet my friend, Mike Peters. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Mark. This is such a treat.
Good.
This is such a treat.
It's delightful to see you again, but we don't see this. The last time I saw you, I think, was at Benihana's.
Benihana. Oh my God, we went with you and your friend, and we had great food and stuff. You know.
We mobilized Benihana. Everybody in the restaurant was wondering how come our table, everybody was laughing the whole time, and that's because our table had you at it.
Oh God.
So we were with my friend Amber.
Amber. I love Amber.
Beautiful, lovely Amber. And when I first started going with Amber, I said to her, now you're going to meet all my friends. And you're not going to like all my friends because I don't like all my friends. But you'll like most of them. So we take her around, and every time she meets one of my friends, she immediately will say to me afterwards, when do I get to meet the ones I won't like?
Oh, that's great. Oh, I love that.
She loves all my friends, and they all love her. And she's probably watching at this very moment.
Oh, that's hi, Amber. I love you. Love you,
yeah, that's my job, loving her. Anyway, but she's she was quite I think she was more impressed with you than anyone else she's met.
Oh yeah, right. But Mark, we went to the Mad Magazine event. Do you remember? It was a Mad Magazine event. Was on the second floor of some building, and that they had either changed offices or they were about to quit or something. You know.
No, we were at Abrams Books. We were there at the Abrams Books offices for a party.
That's right.
But if you remember, years ago there was a licensing show in New York. We were both there, and we went to. I took you as my date to the dinner, or maybe you took me as your date. And I pointed out to you the editor of Mad Magazine.
Oh, God.
Nick was there.
Oh my gosh.
And you said, "Oh, introduce me to the editor of Mad Magazine."
Yeah.
So I took you over. I introduced you, and he goes, "Mike Peters, my God, the great cartoonist."
Oh yeah, right.
And you were going, "Well, you're the great editor of Mad Magazine," and you hugged him, and you just talked about him, and it finally came time for us to part and go back to our tables. And we went back to our tables, and you turned to me and you said, I think that's the guy who turned me down for Mad Magazine.
Oh, I think it was. I went in there when I was in college, and I took a drawing with me that I had worked on all week, and I took it in. I'll never forget it. I went up Mad Magazine, it was the thing, and so I sat down. No, I said, "Hi, I'm a cartoonist, and I'd love to do. I did a cartoon which scenes I'd like to see. Like that." And they said, "Sure, well, let's see it." And so he looked at it, and then he laughed, and they showed another guy, and laughed, and then we have to go in and show the real editor. I said, "Okay," and then I'm sitting among all the covers of all the Mad magazines, the real life covers, and I'm going, "Oh my God, this is Mad Magazine! I'm going to be a king! When I go back to school." And the guys, one of the guys came back and said, "No, my editor heard the same thing on a Johnny Carson show, and he threw the drawing over and landed on the sofa next to me, and then they left." And I said, "So this is the way it is, huh? This is life. I mean, this is the way it is,
So what were they thinking when they heard you won the Pulitzer Prize?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could have told them myself, but it wasn't.
How did you find out you won the Pulitzer Prize for cartooning? You got a letter in the mail?
No. I was walking across the city room. I had put my cartoons in that year, and I had put them 13 years, before, and I never won. And this was at a time, we were stage coaches, and you were riding horses, and they had teletype things were coming over on paper, And so I was walking across the city room, and this guy oh God, he was the editor of the photography page. And I forget his name right now, but I'll remember. And he said, Mike, and I said, I turned around and he said, guess what? He said, you just won the Pulitzer Prize. I said, oh my God, I can't believe it, And he gave me the teletype thing, the Mike Peters and stuff, and I'll tell you, winning a Pulitzer Prize. I mean, it's so weird because nobody. I mean, they knew I submitted every single year, and as every other cartoonist would, but immediately the word got out that I had won a Pulitzer Prize, and then the editor went out and got champagne. I don't know where he got champagne, but he got champagne, and they're popping his champagne, and people are taking photographs, and I'm the thing, doing what I love, and stuff like that. And then people started calling up, and then I started doing interviews just like this, but not like this. And then I was there all day, and my wife came down and stuff like that, and it was quite a day. And so I was there around 8 o'clock. And so then Marion went home because we had children. And I said, I'll stop by and get some stuff, get some special stuff, which is cream soda and ice cream. A cream soda and vanilla ice cream is what we. And so I went by, and I was at the grocery store, and this lady was there. It was stamping things, and it was before the line thing that we have. And so she was stamping it and passing us. And so I had the cream soda and the ice cream, and I'm kind of smiling, and she said, "What are you so happy about?" And I said, "I just won the Pulitzer Prize." And she looked at me and she said, "Right." And then she stamped the card, and then she kept stamping the things. So she never knew that I was for real, but it was amazing.
What do you get when you get a certificate? Do you get money? What do you get from the Pulitzer Prize? Do you have it? Is it?
I've got it right over here. Here, hang on.
Okay.
Hang on.
All right.
I'll show you what the.
Okay, we're gonna see a Pulitzer Prize, folks.
No, I'm going to show him the Pulitzer Prize.
Okay.
He asked me what a Pulitzer Prize is. Oh, I will. Oh no, you got to get it down for me. And so this is a Pulitzer Prize.
Wow.
It says,
he actually has.
Oh, hang on. I'm trying to get the right. Columbia University. Something. Mike Peters.
They give those to
Pulitzer Prize in journalism
for 20.
And then it's got writing underneath, which I can't read very well because I'm behind the thing.
Doesn't
but
matter.
That's the Pulitzer Prize. Now they give big medals and stuff like that, and money. They give money, but not anymore. Oh, I've got the Reuben. Do you want to see the Reuben?
Yeah, I see. No,
oh, you've seen the Reuben. Okay, fine.
But our viewers may not have seen the Reuben. Why don't you get your Reuben?
Okay, fine. I'll get the Reuben. Hang on.
We're just going to send Mike out to get every award he gets at. We'll show it to this. This is like an Oscar because here, let me put him in the ear so I can hear what you say. And this is like an Oscar. 2 years before I won a Reuben. A Reuben is a cartoon that the National Cartoonist Society gives to one cartoonist. And so I was at the meeting. Mike, the people in our chat room thought you were going to bring back a sandwich. That's
No, I'm bringing back this thing. Okay. This is a Reuben. Yeah,
that's right. Okay.
And
designed by Rube Goldberg.
It's designed by Rube Goldberg. It weighs like two bowling balls. It's heavy.
When Sergio got his, he wanted to make it into a lamp. He wanted to put a fixture on it and put a shade on it.
Who wanted to do that?
Sergio.
Oh, no kidding. No, you don't want to do that in a lamp. This is great. It's those honors of your life. I mean, for my life, you know. But here, let me move over the prize and then get that thing done. But let me see. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah. I remember. So so I was at the National Cartoonist Society, and Jim Davis, the great Jim, you know Jim Davis.
Yes. I've been familiar with the man. Yes,
I know you know Jim Davis. You've written many of his great things. He won the award that year, but he wasn't at that meeting, so they knew I lived near him, in Siesta Key. So they gave me his Reuben, and I brought it home, and I put it. I didn't want to have it in my house because I knew I was never going to win a Reuben, and so there was a closet in my house, and I put it way in back of the closet, and I put clothes over it so I wouldn't see it. And then when Jim came in town, then we had a party, and then I brought it and they gave it to him. I had no idea I was going to. And then 2 years later, I won this, and I couldn't believe it, you know. But it was quite a thing. I mean, it was a great thing.
That's good. That's right. Now we have questions. There are people watching this they're sending in questions, Mike. There's a very fine cartoonist named Mark Christensen. Does design work and stuff like that. And he writes, "Hi, Mike. What do you think is the future of the current newspaper syndicate business model for comic strips? Do you have any ideas for what the future business model for comic strip artists might be?" Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, my contract is for another 2 years, and I get a nice amount of money from King Features to do my strip, and it goes out to as many papers that are out there. But I tell cartoonists who either stop working or editorial cartoonists or stuff, I said, believe me, the internet is going. I mean, it looks like the death of us, but it's going to be our savior. It's going to be something that you are going to love. It's going to be able to take your cartoons and bring them to 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 people every day. But we haven't figured it out yet. We haven't figured out how to make a bunch of money. Guys are making. I mean, there are ways of doing that. But I haven't gotten that far. But yes, newspapers. It's a kind of chancy thing to be able to make a good living from a newspaper because they're getting fewer and fewer. Now, if you find now I have a friend who's the editorial cartoonist for one of the websites, and he gets a nice salary. And and then what's her name? Anne, who is the cartoonist for the Washington Post. She still gets a nice salary because Washington Post, Washington Post. But the way to do it is, I mean, if I'm going to answer your question, is to start doing cartoons and sending them out to all the syndicates and to all the websites, and let them know that you're alive. But believe me, there are ways. Someday, soon, not long from now, you're going to be able to make a guy who's going to be able to do a cartoon a day is going to be able to make a lot of money or nice money going through the internet, and you just have to figure out how. Okay.
Do you think that editorial cartoons have more of a future than newspaper strips?
I think right now, because of Trump, editorial cartoonists are able to do great. But who knows? Who knows when Trump finally leaves? And I mean, right now, I come downstairs and I look at the front page of any of the newspapers or the front page of any of the websites, and I have an idea. And so right now, I mean, Art Buchwald said that Watergate was his Camelot. Well, right now, Trump is our Camelot. I can show you a ton of cartoons I've done. I didn't bring them here, but I can show you things I've done. But
I've got some of them. I'm going to show in a few minutes here. But,
okay.
But is this a more fertile time than Bill Clinton's sex scandal?
Well, yes, because Bill Clinton's sex scandal was a one-note thing. I mean, you would a sex scandal. He was dropping his drawers. He was showing himself off the girls. He was. It's like But this today, anything Trump says, anything Trump writes as a tweet makes a cartoon. So I think it's better for a cartoonist.
I keep remembering a joke that the comedian Jackie Mason used to use during Watergate when Nixon was in the White House. He would say, "Every morning I get up and I rush into my living room to make sure my furniture is still there."
So who said that?
Jackie Mason.
Oh, and Jackie Mason. Well, Jackie Mason was great.
Morning, I get up and I pick up my iPhone next to the bed and I look to see the new outrage, and I think, some days I think he just goes, "I've got to annoy Evanier. What can I say? I've got to piss him off. I've got to come up with something."
Oh, Mark, that's great.
A lot of them.
Mark, I feel sorry for the people who aren't doing the cartoons. I feel sorry for my cousin or the people who get mad and they can't do anything about it. I can do something about it. I can actually, and if I don't do something good enough, then I get all depressed. And, oh God, why didn't I do something great? But at least I can sit down and I can draw something and then put it out there and then see if people like it or not. I mean, it is kind of a joy.
Let's look at a couple of your cartoons here.
Yes. Hey, Marion, I need your help. I need Marion. I need your help. Okay. All right. So.
Okay. All right. This is a fairly recent one, I believe.
Yes.
And
I just walked in the screen.
Well, it hit me when I thought of this idea. Marion, can I have some paper to wipe my? I'm sweating. I know I can't leave.
Is that what you want to do?
Oh yeah, yes.
Anything else, sire?
No. Do you want to show? Well, you can't show the. Marion, show the face.
I'm the grip.
I'm the grip. If you can give me some paper, because I'm perspiring and stuff.
All you have to do is reach behind you. Look right here. Paper
towel.
Oh,
paper
you
towel.
Don't
okay.
even have to move.
All right. No. Okay.
Oh no, you better use this
sorry.
one.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's the blessing.
I'm sorry.
really.
I'm sorry. Okay. Go on.
Are those paper towels from the Koch brothers?
Yes. No. Those are not. Those are.
How long?
Bounty.
How long did you do this one?
I did it last week. I was trying to think of, here the post office and are being cut down because of what he's doing, and they're cutting a lot of things that the post office uses so that you can possibly vote. And I was thinking about Trump putting his neck on a black guy. And instead of the black guy saying, I can't breathe, saying, I can't vote. And it seemed to be, I've got wonderful letters about it and stuff.
My friend Tom Galloway would like to know, has your drawing of Trump changed over the past 3.5 years? And if it was conscious, why?
Well, it changes all the time. I mean, if I were going to, here, hang on, let me just do this. If I were going to do a Trump cartoon, I mean, early on, it was hard. I mean, I was trying to make it look exactly like Trump and all that kind of stuff. But all you have to do now is do I can't do it like that. Is do a smile button, just like that, and then put a thing of hair on him, and oh yeah, that's Trump. Oh, so that's Trump. So it's easy. All you have to do is. So you don't have to do a lot of work, but at the beginning, oh yeah, no, I was, if you go to my first couple of years, first couple of months, but then I realized, that hair was going to be great and everybody does the hair, but
here's a lot of different views of Trump with his hair.
Oh yeah. It says, during this pandemic, I'd like to praise medics, ME, firemen, ME, policemen, ME, merchants, ME, and America. So yes, I was able to do a bunch of him. But it's interesting. when if I go to his photos, if I go online and go Trump, and then go to his photographs, he's got all these expressions, and making use of all these expressions is fun for me. I mean, it's enjoyable for me to try to do something I've never done before.
Do you color the strip yourself?
No, I used to color the strip, and then my daughter picked it up, and so now she colors the strip for me. I used to sweat. I used to. Oh gosh, what am I doing? I used to start coloring, and both the strip and the comic and the editorial cartoons, and I would start coloring it, and I start sweating like I am now. Because of and I realized I wasn't enjoying that. I had all these colors I could choose from, but I didn't really. I wasn't enjoying it, so I got someone else to do it, and so my daughter does it, and she does a great job.
Okay, here's another cartoon.
Oh yes, well,
the buck stops there. The buck stops there. The buck stops there.
Well, it's real easy for me. I have thought of this idea for many times, and then this one time, and this one day, Trump was blaming all these people, and I thought, well, why don't I do that cartoon I've thought about so many times, and so I drew 1,000 or 100 or 50 of those buck stops here things on his desk,
And you got the tie right, okay?
Oh, I get it.
Got the tie right, yes, of course.
Hey, I've got one more. This is not a Trump one here.
Okay. Oh yeah. Now I'll tell you something. This was an idea that I did maybe about 30 years ago, and I forget what the cartoon was, but it was a cartoon that I thought would be apparable today. So I changed it around a lot. I mean, I made it Acme Retirement Village, and then the cow slaughterhouse, and one of the cows is saying, "Poor things, they're on their way to a nursing home," and I got a ton of letters on it. But I told everybody I did this about 35 years ago, and so it's nice, but it's I'm not that bright.
Ton of letters that didn't like it, or a ton of letters that liked it, or
oh no letters that like it. I mean, they don't show me the letters that hate me, because I get all depressed and I go to my room and go into the fetal position and stuff.
Well, now your paper, it's the Tribune.
The Dayton Daily News.
Dayton Daily News, right? Okay. How liberal is that paper?
Oh, they about well, I started drawing for them in '68, and so in '68 or '69, and around 1972 or something, the editor said, "Oh, let him do what he wants to," and they have allowed me to do that ever since. So
you were sometimes in opposition to their editorials.
Well, the editor of the editorial, no, the editor of the newspaper was a guy named Jim Fain. He's the guy who hired me. He was a brigadier general in the Army, not full time, but part time, and he hired me, and he wanted me to kind of be sort of go along with what he believed. Well, he was a general in the Army, and this is during Vietnam, and so he didn't want me to do very many Vietnam ideas, because because he was a general in the Army, and so finally around '72, Vietnam was still going on, and I couldn't help myself, and so I started doing a bunch of anti-Vietnam cartoons. And he said, "Let him, let him do what he wants. So that's fine,
Okay, but the paper was not running editorials anti-Vietnam. You were in opposition.
No. They were doing pro-Vietnam cartoons. I mean, ideas and stuff like that. And so my cartoons were not following their ideas, but it was okay. It was okay. He liked me.
How many other newspapers pick up your cartoons and run them?
Well, let me see. There was like 1972. So it wasn't syndicated then, but then I just got syndicated in 1972. And then I got 25 papers, and then 50 papers, and then 150 papers. And And so then the editor was kind of proud of me that I was picking up papers and stuff like that. So he allowed me to do what I wanted to do.
When a newspaper decides to pick up a syndicated political cartoon such as yours,
Yes.
how often are they picking it up because they go, boy, this guy is funny? And how often are they picking it up because they say, boy, this guy is in tune with our politics?
Yeah, I know. Mainly, I was funny, and that was the reason why they liked me, because I was different. You know, I couldn't be a Paul Conrad, who was brilliant, and a Paul Zepp and Malden and people like that. You know, but I was funny. I was just basically funny, so I was able to do funny cartoons, and they were picking me up because of that.
Okay, now when you say you couldn't be like a Paul Conrad,
Right?
What do you think he could do that you couldn't?
Oh God, you know, he did such great. I don't have any Conrads here, but he did such great visuals. He could take a visual of
Talking about
what?
You thought he drew better than you?
Oh yeah, he drew great. He drew fabulous than me. You know,
Mike, you draw. The thing is it struck me that Paul Conrad was a little better at pissing people off than you are.
Oh yeah, no, no, that's very true.
Paul Conrad one time, and we talked mostly about Mayor Yorty, who was
Mayor Yorty, yes, of course,
and who they just hated each other. It was a daily dose of hatred in the Paul Conrad cartoon, and Yorty would go on the news and just start trashing Paul Conrad, and he made him famous. He made him really very famous in town.
Oh yeah,
and when Nixon won, Yorty, who was technically a Democrat, but he was really a Republican at heart,
yes,
began telling people he might have to step down as mayor of Los Angeles, or as he pronounced it, Los Angeles. He had a mayor who never pronounced the name of the city, and go to Washington because Nixon would want him in his cabinet. So Conrad drew this picture of Yorty dressed as Napoleon with his hat
great.
Going, I'm going to have to go to Washington and run the country there. And so Yorty was furious at that. And so Conrad did another cartoon of Yorty as Napoleon, this time with men taking him away to an asylum. And he's speaking about it was just brutal.
Isn't that fabulous? Isn't that fabulous? I love that.
And then when Nixon, when Reagan, the one that got people mad, when Reagan got reelected, Conrad, the next day, he had a drawing of himself sitting at the drawing table, and he had a drawing of Reagan in clown makeup on it, and he went, 4 more years.
Oh, that's great. Oh, God, is that great? God, Conrad is amazing. Conrad's amazing, you know.
Yes, well, but you're pretty amazing yourself. Have you ever, has there ever been one cartoon that got you into more trouble than another? One that you stand out like, oh my God, I got so much heat on that.
Yeah. Well, I get heat on a lot of cartoons, and I think I remember one time I did up this cartoon, and it was I wish I had it, but it was a picture of Jesus, and it said if this man, it was right when Falwell, you know, when Falwell started becoming known,
disgraced Falwell as opposed to the current disgraced Falwell.
Yes, as far as the current, thank you for the idea. Okay. As far as the current one, and Falwell was the head of the university, a religious university that was, you know,
university, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so he, I wanted to show that the moral. He started the moral majority, and so I wanted to show that the moral majority sucks, and so I had so I had Jesus standing there, and I said, if this man, just a regular Jesus, and it says, if this man were running for president, he would be against capital punishment, for
helping the poor.
Oh, for helping the poor, against capital punishment, and one other thing, and therefore he would be unacceptable to the moral majority. Well, the moral majority went nuts. I mean, these people, these Christians, so-called Christians, went nuts, and they came down and they picketed, and they sent letters and stuff like that with toilet paper, bad, dirty toilet paper inside envelopes to me, and I realized, wait a minute, this is nice. I like this. you know, you can actually make a dent and get people mad, but they couldn't argue about what I said, because it was true. It was true that Jesus would not be acceptable to the moral majority because of all the things that he stood for, So it's great. It's great. So when you say, did you get any real trouble? Yes, I got in a lot of trouble. But trouble is a good thing. It's like the sweet man who just died, said, try to get in trouble. Trouble is a good thing, So I try to do that.
Tom Galloway asks, have you ever had a similar long-term nemesis a la Conrad and Yorty? Has there anyone you feuded with the way Conrad feuded with Sam Yorty?
Well, let me see. A lot of local guys. A lot of people who were local in Dayton, Ohio. I'll never forget this. First time when I realized the sort of the power. I mean, it is kind of amazing when you realize that you're an editorial cartoonist and you're putting things out there and you're trying to make people mad, and then you do. I was laying in bed one time, and it was around 11 o'clock at night, and the news was on, and there was we had a head of the school board was a real dweeb, did not like him, and so I had him sitting in a baby's chair, and you see the school board is all sitting around regular, and he's sitting up in a little baby's chair like this, and he's got a rattle. So I don't think much about it, but that night, after the cartoon goes in the paper, I'm watching the news, and here someone is standing outside of the school board meeting, and they're holding this cartoon. They said, "Look, this guy Peters did this cartoon of the head of the school board in a little chair, and he's so mad, and he wants to sue the newspaper and stuff." And I said, "Oh my God, that's great!" So I did up 3 more cartoons the next 3 days, trying to get the same sort of reaction. But he didn't do that. But it's great. It's great. Yes, of course. So you have certain people that you enjoy. You enjoy getting mad at, and of course Trump. If you go to my website and just go to editorial cartoons and then go back 4 years, I've done a Trump cartoon every single day. I mean, my wife says, "I think it's time. It's time you can quit." No, this guy's too good. Yeah, I can't stop myself. And so I still do it. I love it.
For those watching this, the website is www.grimmy.com.
Yeah, Grimmy.com. Grimmy.com. Yeah, and then when you go on it,
talk about in a minute.
Yeah, when you go on it, you'll see the latest comic strip, and then you'll see an editorial cartoon over on the right side. And then you hit. Oh, and then there's a list of names like comic strips, editorial cartoons. Hit the editorial cartoons, and then go back 4 years, and you can see every cartoon I've done on Trump for the last 4 years. Well, you can go back 30 years and see every cartoon I've ever done. But I'm just saying, I've hated, but I've enjoyed doing Trump.
Okay. Joe Music asks, care to comment on toonists who have lost their jobs? I'm thinking of Rob Rogers in particular.
Well, Rob Rogers. Yes, there are so many great cartoonists. Rob got I hope he keeps it up, is still doing a cartoon for his syndicate every 5 days a week or something like that. There are some cartoonists, great cartoonists, I forget his name, but so many cartoonists have lost their jobs and then stopped drawing cartoons. And they've gone on and probably making a living doing some other thing. But it's so sad. It's so sad because these guys can be giving so much to their community right now. by continuing cartooning, and some are still doing great cartoons. Benson, oh my God, Benson is a great cartoonist, and he lost his job with the newspaper in Utah, but he's still doing cartoons because the syndicate is still syndicating his cartoons. But so many great cartoonists are no longer doing it, and it's dumb. It's dumb. I mean, they have so much to give, and if they wait just a few more months or something like that, the websites are going to be able to pay you money for what you have.
When you became syndicated, when you
Yes.
started, your cartoons started being syndicated, did you do less local cartoons?
Yeah, well, that was a big thing because when I started doing national cartoons, I had to go to my syndicate and say, look, I'll do four nationals, but I got to do one local cartoon because I get paid by a newspaper and they like me, and so I got to be doing things for them, you know, and so but when you get syndicated, it's a big appeal for the syndicates to take your work and you do national cartoons. But I had to do one local cartoon a week, or maybe sometimes two.
So would the local cartoon even be offered to the other cities, or did that not get sent to them?
Well, I wasn't going to send any cartoons. I mean, the local cartoons out, and then my wife and this other lady that worked on the editorial page said, no, that's the national. It's Ohio. It's a national news. You know that you do a cartoon. So send that out also. So I usually will send out the local cartoons that I do also. You know,
and they might or might not run those.
Right. They may or may not, and it's up to them. And you know, the thing is, when you're syndicated with a newspaper, and you send them cartoons, if they stop using you, then they'll stop. Then they won't take your syndication. So you try to keep a quality about your cartoons and make it funny and not mean and all that kind of stuff. But eventually these people will eventually drop you. I mean, you know, sometimes drop you. I remember the one time. Oh God, I was so. I had this a newspaper in Thousand Oaks, California, for many years. I mean, it was one of my early newspapers, and you know, and so I whenever I see Thousand Oaks, that's my newspaper. You know, that's one of my newspapers. They love me, you know, and stuff. And so it's one day I got this letter and it said from the syndicate. It said Thousand Oaks is dropping you as a cartoonist. And I threw the letter in the trash can. And then I picked it back up and looked at it. Thousand Oaks is dropping you. And I threw it away. So then I try to figure. I wonder why they dropped me. I mean, you know, I'm still doing. I thought I'm still doing quality stuff, but maybe I'm not. You know. So I called up the guy. I called up the editor of the editorial page of Thousand Oaks, and so I said hi, and I said I'm John Farrell from United Features Syndicate. You know, I was with United Features at the time. I said, I'm John Farrell with the United Features Syndicate, and we see that you dropped our boy Mike Peters, and we just wanted to find out why, you know, and there was a dead silence, and I said, well, I know it's during Nixon's time, and Peters doesn't like doing good cartoons about Nixon, but so has the topic changed for you, or you know, whatever? And he said, no, it's just that Mike Peters sucks. His cartoons suck. And I dropped the phone. I still had the cord, and it was like, and he says, hello. I couldn't answer. Mike Peters sucks. My cartoons suck. I've been with him for 10 years, and oh gosh, you know. So I don't do that. I just don't do that anymore. You know, they come, they go, they pick me up, they don't. That's okay. You know, that's fine.
Okay. We have a question here. Trevor Kimball would like to know how
Yes.
far in advance do you need to tune in your strips and editorial cartoons?
No, say it one more time.
How
You
far
need-
in advance do you need
Oh.
to turn in your strips and
Yeah.
editorial cartoons? Now, you were
Um,
drawing editorial cartoons this morning, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
When
now.
does the stuff you ran?
Marianne? I need some water. My mouth is drying up. I'm sorry, sweetie. This is a bad thing. Well,
I send it to
oh,
you.
see, someday we'll be able to do that. Someday someday you'll be able to give me some water. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mark. This is great.
I'm gonna splash it.
No, stop that. Stop that. I'm sorry. My mouth is all dry.
Anything else?
No.
You don't have to go to the bathroom.
No, I don't have to
I'm
go.
not gonna do that.
No, I know. Stop it.
You see
I
why
was doing.
See why Amber likes being with these people. All right.
Yeah. So, when I was doing my comic strip and the editorial cartoons full time, I mean, I was doing 5 political cartoons a week and 7 comic strips a week. That's a frigging lot of work. And I was just drawing it. And along with that, then I was also doing animation. I was doing, thank you, sweetie.
And the licensing.
I was doing
Greeting
licensing,
cards.
greeting cards. I was doing 1,000 different. I mean, I was younger at that time. I could do that. I draw it with left hand and talk over here and stuff like that. And I was doing the Today Show. I was flying in and doing the TV stuff. And so I was doing 5 editorial cartoons and then 7 comic strips. And so when I what was the question? What was the question? I started talking.
How far ahead do you do?
Oh yeah, that's right. So I'm about a month or 3 weeks. 3 weeks or a month. I'm working on a month, trying to do a month, get a month ahead so that I'm not too far behind. And then
Goose and Grimm. That's how
I mean for the Mother Goose and Grimm. And then for the editorial cartoons, whatever I do today will be in the paper tomorrow.
You deliver, you draw them and then scan them and send them to scan. Is that how it works?
I draw them and I have my little scanner right over there. I put it in the scanner, do the scanning, scan it to my daughter Marcy. She colors it. She's working on the comic strip. She does an editorial cartoon or whatever I'm doing, and then so the editorial cartoon is like 1 day ahead. I'm like 1 day ahead, but the comic strip is like 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, now my friend Russell Myers, who does Broomhilda.
Oh yeah, Broomhilda. I tell him I love Broomhilda.
Okay, I will. Russell, and you have the same birthday.
Really?
Yes, and you are my most liberal cartoonist friend, and he's my most conservative cartoonist.
And we have the same birthday?
Same birthday, yes.
Get out of here. Well, I got to send him a card or something. This is great.
I'm going to talk Russell into doing one of these interviews.
Oh, that's great. Oh, please do. And let me know so that I can do this. I can see him and stuff.
I'm going to send a link to this tomorrow to Jim Davis and see if I can talk him into doing.
Oh, of course you can do it. Jim, listen to me. He's your friend. Do this. It's easy. You sit there and then have women bring you drinks and stuff, and it's okay. You can do this.
Jim has a harem that does that, right? So, now I forgot what I was going to say about. Okay, so the strips are scanned, and you send them in. Do you get any sort of feedback from editors? Do you get any comments? Like
I used to. I used to get comments, but then they realized, no, he's just this liberal asshole. It's just
But I mean, not necessarily for politics, but does anybody ever call you up and say, Mike, this one isn't funny, or Mike, you suck, or Mike, is there something we think will offend our readers in this?
I've had that. I mean, this is going to offend our readers. Well, my job is to offend your readers. I mean, I'm supposed to offend your readers. That's what.
Okay. Has anybody ever called you and said, we'll get sued over this?
No. I mean, I get sued. I was last sued. I've been sued a bunch of times. And, but the last one, it was from I had done for a comic strip. I had done a series of cartoons, and any of you who go on my website, you can see. You can go to Well, no, you can't. I mean, but I can tell you how to do it. But I had this idea where I thought it'd be fun if Mother Goose or Ralph, who's the little kind of stupid dog, a bull terrier, a Boston Terrier, if he realizes that he thinks that Betty Crocker is inside one of the boxes, see, been dust, and so he doesn't ever do Betty Crocker, and I had a number of things like that where he was like, no, I can't do that because see, well, this one cartoon I had, Mother Goose was making coffee, and she says, I love Columbia coffee, and he said, oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't drink that Colombian coffee, and she said, why not? And he said, well, there's a lot of people killed in Colombia from their mafia, and they say there's a little bit of Juan Valdez in every jar, and I think there really is. Well, I thought that was a very a cute little cartoon. The thing, I got sued by the Colombian coffee makers for $20 million. And I started hearing about it, and I think, no, that can't be. And then I get this letter from a legal group in New York who said, yeah, we're representing the thing. They have $20 million. They're suing you. And so then I called up a friend of mine whose name is Roz Mazer, and she went to the Supreme Court for me one time. I mean, not for me, but she went about one of my cartoons I had done. Ready Kilowatt. Do you remember Ready Kilowatt was something back in the 60s, 70s, a light bulb. And I had used it for something. And she said, well, you're going to be sued. You're being sued for $1 million at that time, And I said, oh my God, I don't have $1 million. He says, don't worry. So she went to the Supreme Court and she fought for me and this other cartoonist who did Really Kilowatt. And they changed the law saying, okay, cartoonists can use the characters from an ad, and they can't get sued unless they're selling electricity. I can use this thing and Really Kilowatt anytime, but if I don't sell electricity, I can use it anytime. It ain't doing anything. So I called Roz Mazer and I said, these people are suing me for $20 million, the Colombian thing. So they eventually, half a year later, it took me some money to get out of it. And then they said, well, then if you just have him come to Bogota and to have cocktails with us, and we'll be fine. And the State Department called up and said, no, don't go to Bogota. Their second biggest way to make money is through stealing people. You don't do that. You see, but I got off from being sued.
Okay.
Have you been sued?
What?
Have you been sued?
No, I've never been sued. However, you in a recent Mother Goose and Grimm, you used Pogo.
Yeah, yes, I know.
I'm a part owner of Pogo, so
you wonderful thing. He called me one day, and he said, "Can you do a cartoon about Pogo for us?" And I said, "I've been doing a cartoon with Pogo all my life." And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, I've been drawing the way I draw Mother Goose.
How is that? How do you do that? I'm sorry. Oh, I am Mother Goose. Excuse me.
Yeah, that is Mother Goose.
Who's the he?
Who is that other person with you?
What?
Who's the he who called you in this story? Is that me?
Yeah, that was you. You called me and you said, I want you to do something about
I don't know if you know what you did for me that time.
No. I meant
Pogo reprint books, and I had we were trying to get interesting people to do forwards, and for the third volume, I had Jonathan Winters lined up to do the forward.
Man, Jonathan Winters, he's from Dayton,
Yes, that's right, and he used to be a cartoonist, and he loved Pogo, and he did some things with Pogo at one point, and he agreed to do it. The idea was that I would call him on a certain day, and I'd record the conversation, and I would type it up and turn it into a written thing, because Mr. Winters didn't want to write in prose. He just wanted to talk about Pogo for a while.
He's amazing.
So we all were up for that, and then he died the day before.
God.
We had that conversation.
You mean he died during that time?
Died the day before we were supposed to have that conversation.
Oh my God! Oh my God! He was an idol of mine.
So the editor of the other, my co-editor, actually I wasn't editing the books, and Carolyn was editing the books at that time, but I was the like consultant editor, whatever my title was. They said, "What are we going to do?" I said, "Don't worry, Roger Ebert. I've already lined Roger Ebert up to do the forward for number 4, so I'll just contact him and ask him to do it a little earlier, and we'll put Roger Ebert in." And then Roger Ebert died.
Oh, no! Wait a minute. Wait, you're joking. You're joking.
No, I didn't tell you this at the time, because you wouldn't have done the forward.
I would have started coughing and started taking my temperature every time. You know.
So they said to me, "We got to get somebody. We got like 2 weeks to get someone forward." I said, "I'm calling Mike," and I called you, and you came right through with a forward for us.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
You saved us, and it was a very good little piece, and we liked it tremendously. And
but I can show. I wish I had a drawing pad, because
I
truly.
can also tell you that the first forward we did, in the first volume, we had Jimmy Breslin.
Oh God, isn't that great?
He died.
Oh no!
We had Stan Freeberg. Stan Freeberg was too.
No.
And he died.
No, wait a minute. You're joking, right? You're joking.
No. But everybody else is still alive.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
In the fourth one, we had Neil Gaiman. And I forget who else. The fifth one, I forget, we had everybody else. Jake Tapper did the one in.
Oh my God. I'm glad you didn't tell me this, because truly that would have sent me over the edge. I would have, been taking my temperature and breathing in mirrors and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, but no, you bailed me out. Somebody is calling me on a phone line that doesn't exist. Oh, this is interesting. I'm gonna just hold on. I'm gonna just hang out with these people.
Might be me.
Hello. What are you looking for? The Police Action Fund. You're recording. Won't take too much of my time. Reaching out for law enforcement, let everybody know. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right.
Oh, that's great. That's terrific.
I get the weirdest calls.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Anyway.
You're amazing.
Anyway, Mike Cagle says my audio is not very good. Has it gotten better, Mike?
Yes, it's much better.
Okay. No, Mike Cagle is on another editorial.
I love Mike Cagle. I love Mike Cagle.
Yes, well, Mike Cagle is watching us right now. He just
that's
wrote
great.
My microphone moved away from my mouth here. Anyway, you saved the Pogo.
Oh,
books.
You're amazing. Well, really, it was one of the highlights because I grew up with Pogo. I mean, Pogo, for God's sake, I used to love that, and I never met Walt Kelly, but I met his daughter.
Yes, you met her with. I introduced her.
Yes, and so she was so sweet, and you were very sweet to her, you were very sweet to her, and she loved you guys.
Well, and you just had a lovely drawing when she was in the hospital. You sent her a lovely drawing.
That's great.
She had up on her wall, and
that's great. Oh, that's great. I wish I had. Great. Go on.
She was a wonderful lady, and and she. Oh, that's right. It's not Mike Cagle. It's Daryl Cagle.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I have my Cagles confused here.
I love Daryl Cagle. I love Daryl Cagle too. Daryl is wonderful.
Well, Mike,
a great cartoonist.
We like you too, Mike. Yeah, Daryl Cagle was the political cartoonist we're talking about here. I've lost all control of this show. Thank you. Okay, now let's talk about you're a month ahead on Mother Goose and Grimm.
Yes.
How long have you been doing Mother Goose and Grimm now?
But since 1940. No. I mean since 1984.
Okay, now
But
so
it's
you
35, almost 35 years.
okay. How long did you want your own newspaper strip?
Oh God. Well, let me see. I had gone through in grade school. I thought that I would be a comic strip guy. I had learned all of the names of all the of all the writers of all the cartoon strips. The guy who did Henry. Do you remember Henry? Henry was
Yes.
a little kid who he couldn't speak, and I had a stutter. So I related to Henry a lot because
Was this John Liney or was it the one before him?
the one before him. The one before him.
It was,
I know.
Track D, was that his name?
What?
Track D. What was the name of the guy that?
Yeah. It was the guy before John Laney, or maybe it was John Laney. Well, but it was that guy. I mean,
All right.
the guy. I think he was in jail for a while. I think, but maybe I'm wrong. No, I just read something.
Okay. What were your favorite strips when you were a kid? Okay, you watched.
Well, it was Henry.
Yeah.
It was Walt Kelly, which is Walt Kelly. That was great. Mandrake the Magician. Oh my God. Mandrake is still being done. I didn't realize that, but whoever is doing Mandrake is still doing it. You go on the King Features Syndicate or United Features, and you get on Mandrake, and you see the ones the recent the things, and so so there's no old time. I mean, there's no death in a good comic strip. Good comic strip. Oh yeah, just keep going forever and all that kind of stuff.
Did you like Little Abner?
Oh, I love Little Abner. Oh, I met him one time. That's my mom had a TV show for almost 25 years in St. Louis.
We're going to talk about your mother in a minute, but go ahead.
Well, I'm going to have to tell this story. And so she had Al Cap on our program. And so Al Cap said, would you like to go to dinner with my mom? My mom was very pretty. And she said,
I don't like where this. I already don't like where this story is going.
wait though. And so she said, great. I would love to go to dinner with you. And he says, great. Come up to my hotel room, Chase Park Plaza, a famous hotel in St. Louis. And then be up there at 7:00, and I'll have everything ready. She said, "That's great." And so I remember being at the door, the hotel door, and my mom knocks on the door, and Al Cap, opens up the door, and he had a robe on with a little ascot, exactly the way you would expect him, and he says, "Charlotte, well, who is this?" And he looks down at me, and my mom says, "This is my son. He wants to be a cartoonist, and he wanted to meet you." And he says, "Oh, well, okay." And there was champagne and stuff in the bedroom, with everything was ready, and so I got to sit next to Al Cap, and of course he's not interested in me at all. And he's saying, "Well, this is great. How old are you, kid?" Stuff like that.
So you didn't know you were a chaperone.
I didn't know I was a chaperone, but she didn't even tell him. I mean, she did. It was so crazy. That she wouldn't tell him. He would say, "I'm going to bring my son." No, it wasn't. Of course I'll have dinner with you. It was so funny, so funny. But Al Cap was amazing. I saw him in a movie one time with Bob Hope.
And Certain Feeling with Bob Hope, yeah. That's
right. And so Bob Hope called Al Cap, and Al Cap was in his his palatial. He was in the 30th or 50th floor of this great building, and he says, "I'll get it." And he came across almost like Jack Benny, "Hello," like this, and Jack Benny talked to him, and he was there in his outfit with that I saw, the robe and the ascot and stuff like that, but overlooking all of downtown New York. What you think is going to be a great thing. I mean, that's the way you want to be as far as a cartoonist. You want to be famous and be on top of a building and live and have an ascot and drink martinis all the time and stuff. And so so I thought,
And have beautiful women come to your door.
and have beautiful women come to my door. And so I thought that I wanted to be a comic strip guy. And so I was a comic strip guy all through. I mean, in my head, I was going to draw comic strips in my all through grade school and through high school, the first 2 years. And then when I was 13, or maybe first year of high school, I was 13, and my mom said, "There's this guy named Bill Molden, and he just came here to St. Louis, and he won his second Pulitzer Prize, and he's the editorial cartoonist for the Post-Dispatch." And she said, "I want you to meet him." I said, "Oh, sure, that'd be great." You know, his picture was on the cover of Time magazine and stuff. And so she called him, and he says, "Of course, Charlotte." And so she brought me up to his room, and I was 13, and I'm looking around, a little bitty room. He worked in Fitzpatrick's. D.R. Fitzpatrick was the cartoonist before him, and he took his office, and his office was about the size of my little kitchen, a little bitty thing like that, and a window and all that kind of stuff. So I came in and looking around, and and I met Mr. Molden, and we sat down, and then Molden was so kind, and then he showed me what he did, and he showed me drawing faces and doing cartoons about people, and he said, "You want to make people mad. That's the whole idea, you know." He's telling this little 13-year-old kid. I was like, "Make people mad. That sounds great, you know." So from that day on, it was the last time that I wanted to be a comic strip cartoon. I wanted to be a political cartoonist like Bill Molden, you know. And then whenever I was in St. Louis, I'm going to St. Louis like every couple of weeks, and go take the bus down and go into Molden's office and sit there, and then Molden would be drawing something and stuff, and be talking and stuff. So it was a great thing. But he changed my life. I mean, he changed the way I was thinking about doing cartoons. I wanted to do political cartoons then.
Can you reach your new acquisitions you showed me before we went on? Are they still right off the camera?
Yeah, sure. The latest cartoon I did?
No. You showed me your Bill Molden.
Oh, of course. Well, I've got it right down here. Hang on. Hang on now. Where's the other? Hang on. Just one second. Oh, here it is, right here.
Just before we started this broadcast.
No, I got it right here. I got it right here. So this is the Willie and Joe. And so how I bring it over?
That's fine. That's fine. That's good there.
And so if you could read that bottom thing, because I can't read it. It's he said, I lost those buttons, sir, when I took this town. He's saying to an officer, "Hey, you don't have any buttons on."
Those buttons were shot off when I took this town.
Yeah, those buttons were shot off, sir, when I took this town. So he's a little private, and officer is saying, "Okay, now you're losing some buttons there." And yes, sir, those buttons were shot off. Isn't that great?
Yeah,
and he was 19 or 20 when he drew that cartoon. Isn't that amazing? 19 or 20. Look at the shading and all that. Isn't that something? Great man.
So he set you on the course to being a political cartoonist.
Yes. And then I went on to be a political cartoonist. Started working with the Dayton Daily News.
Did you become opinionated because you were a political cartoonist, or were you opinionated before you were a political cartoonist?
Well, I don't. Am I opinionated? Really, truly, I don't.
You have to have opinions if you're a political cartoonist.
Well, I guess so. I guess so. I guess I've always sort of had opinions. My mom used to have opinions, so she used to get on TV and say bad things about the president and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, this is pretty good. I like that. I'd like to be able to do that. But instead of my mom, who would get up and 8 in the morning and then get all dressed and then rehearse her songs and then get mad at me if I'm late for school or something, and then go on drive on to the office and then start rehearsing and all that kind of stuff. I said, I'd like to be able to make 100,000 people laugh every day, but be in my underwear, sitting at home, not having to do that. And it worked out like that. I do that. I mean, that's what happens. I actually do that. I mean, I can, it's a fun job. It's a great job,
Okay, let's explain that your mother was a local TV personality in St. Louis.
Yes.
She
Yes.
had a show where she sang and she told jokes and she did sketches and she
Yes.
did interviews and she
Yes.
wore funny costumes sometimes.
Yes. No, she was amazing.
And she was a big celebrity in town.
Oh, big time.
And
Big
how
time.
long was she on the air in St. Louis?
25 years. 25 years.
This is
From 1950 to like 1975.
and she would take you down to the station a lot, and you'd meet her
All the time.
guests.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I'd be the guest.
Tell us some of the guests. Some of the guests you met on her show.
Oh God, a bunch. John Wayne one time came on her show, and I would take off school whenever she would have a nice, a famous person come on, which was all the time. And so I was always taking off school. And John Wayne came in one time, and he was pushing a movie that he was a sergeant, a detective, and he was in a business suit and stuff. And she said, I got everything ready for you. And he says, oh, yeah. And then he's standing there, and he's on the camera. And we said, now come over here. And she had the stage guys build her a wagon, a covered wagon, the front of a covered wagon. And she said, no, you have to get up here with me. He says, no, see, I'm doing this detective movie. He says, no, but you're John Wayne. So and she said, here, wear this cowboy hat. And she, no, I don't wear a cowboy hat. I wear only my own cowboy hat. He said, well, come on up here. And so he gets up there in the suit and tie, and he's sitting with her. And then all weekend she had learned how to use the bullwhip. She had learned how to use the bullwhip, and so she's sitting there with the things going down, really not the horses, but it looks like it's horses. And she's got a bullwhip, and she's snapping the bullwhip, and she's saying, "Pretty good, huh?" And then he says, "Yeah, I guess so." And then she says, "Okay, start it up." And then behind her on the screen, all these Indians are riding along, chasing the stagecoach, and she's got this bullwhip, and she sings this Western song. And he's looking around saying, what is this? What kind of show is this? And she sings this thing, and she says, do you want to do it? No, I don't want to do it. So, and so, but I've met a ton of people. I met Martin and Lewis. I could tell you a story about Martin, but I have to tell you privately because it's not, it's a couple bad words, but great.
Is it just bad words, or is there more to it than that?
No. Well, I can tell it. No, I can tell it on this. But I won't say the word. But
you can say bad words on this, Mike. We're not on television. He said doing a spit take.
So my mom knew I loved Jerry Lewis, and so she would take me to the Paramount viewing room in St. Louis, and she'd be there with all the heads of all the different theater owners, and we'd be sitting watching a movie, and then they would decide if they were going to have the movie on and stuff like that. But I was seeing it 2 or 3 weeks before it comes in town, and so she knew I loved Jerry Lewis, and so she said, Martin and Lewis are in town, and they're going to be in my show, and she said, but they're pushing one of their movies. Now, what they did at that time was I could show you something else. This is cool. What they did at that time was they would fill the audience. The audience would come to see the movie, and then they would do a half-hour show for Martin and Lewis. They would be singing, and Jerry Lewis would be acting silly, and then they would show the movie. And then they would do it again, and so then by that time the whole town knew they come to see the movie, and so it was pan. So hang on, talk amongst yourself. Hang on, just one second. Let me show you something. So one time, I was. This is about 10 years ago. Wait a minute, my earplug. About 10 years ago, and I was sitting in my house here. No, it was in Florida, and I was done with all my work, and so I got my computer, and I was just playing around. Nothing. I wasn't doing anything. not doing any work. And so one of the things I did was I got on the internet and I put in Martin and Lewis autographs because I didn't have a Martin and Lewis autograph. It'd be nice to have Martin and Lewis autograph. And so, with their picture. And so I'm laying on Marion's lap and she's watching TV and I'm doing this thing and I find Martin and Lewis autographs, actual autographs. And then I saw the autographs and they were all like $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, their pictures with their autographs. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to spend $1,200 for an autograph, that's silly, And all of a sudden I found this little thing, this picture, the picture, and then actual autograph by Martin and Lewis, and it's $120. And I mean, it's not $1,200. It's not $1,400. And so I thought, well, this can't be right. So I went on there and it said actual autographs, Martin and Lewis, and it said $120. And I thought, well, maybe it's all corroded or something. Something's wrong. And I got real close. I did a close up of it, and it was this picture. Okay, now hang on now. It was this picture, and it said to Mike, best wishes, Dean Martin, and this is to Mike, best wishes, Jerry Lewis. And then a riot because it was to Mike. Nobody was buying it, and so it was down to $120. And I was, wait a minute, I was meant to do this, So I got this picture of Martin and Lewis that says to Mike, best wishes, Martin and Lewis. And people come into my house and say, oh, did you know? I say, oh, of course. They're good friends, stuff. Isn't that funny? Funny?
That's great. Do you remember at my house, Mike? Remember the Charles Schultz Peanut Sunday page I have on my wall? Remember
of course that? I do. Oh, I lost that.
It's signed to Mark from Sparky.
Yes.
I was visiting him, and we had a lovely conversation in his studio. And then he says, I'll bet you'd like a signed original. I didn't ask. He said, I'd like you to sign original. So I said, okay. So he just goes over to a drawer, pulls out a daily strip, and it happened to be one with Marcy on it. He just picked the top one. He just kind of picks up and he gets ready, pulls a pen out to autograph it. And I'm glad he's giving me one of these, but I was kind of hoping for something with Peanuts, with Charlie Brown and Snoopy in it. And I was kind of hoping for a Sunday page because they're more frameable, right? So he uncaps the pen and he starts to work. And he goes, oh, wait a minute. Because he's about to write to Mark. And he asked me to make sure he spells it right.
Of course, because you screw up.
He goes, oh, wait a minute. And he recaps the pen and he says, I had a guy here a couple weeks ago and I was signing a strip to him. He wanted a certain Sunday page and I signed it to him. I thought his name was Mark, but his name was Mike. So I signed it to Mark and he said, thank you, but my name is Mike. He said, oh, I'm sorry. And I put that away and I got him another Sunday page and I signed it to Mike.
Oh my God.
So he had a pre-signed to Mark. He gave me this beautiful Sunday page with Charlie Brown and Snoopy in every panel.
Oh God!
And I framed it.
Is that right?
I'll tell you a story here that's off subject here, but you'll like this story. I framed it at the same time I framed a Walt Kelly Pogo Sunday page I had.
Yes.
And I put them side by side on the wall. You've seen them at my house.
Yes.
You were here.
Yes, I remember it. So I remember seeing them.
Okay. So in the Sunday page, the Pogo Sunday page, they have Churchy the turtle and Mademoiselle Hespzibah the skunk in the rowboat together.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And Churchy decides to do a magic trick for Mademoiselle Hespzibah. And there's a little baby turtle that is also kind of sneaking around in the background of this thing. And so he says, hide your eyes, Mademoiselle Hespzibah. She covers her eyes, and he drops his head down into his shell like a turtle can retract his head.
Yes, of course.
And just then, the little baby turtle pokes his head up, this little tiny turtle, and Mademoiselle Hespzibah opens her eyes, and she goes, oh, my God, your head shrunk, and she runs out of the boat. Okay. Now,
great cartoon.
First night that Carolyn was coming over to stay the night at my house, the very first night she spent at my house, Carolyn being Walt Kelly's daughter, I showed her that Sunday page. She goes, "Oh my goodness, that's one of his wonderful ones. That's a wonderful period. I remember those. Yeah, I may even remember him drawing this."
Oh
So
my God.
then she saw that I had magic books around. I had, because I do magic.
Yes.
And she said, "Can you do a magic trick for me?" So I said, "Okay." So I pulled out a trick that I always liked, that I always used, called Bwave, B-W-A-V-E.
BWA.
B-W-A-V-E. I'm telling you the name for a reason in a moment, okay? So I do the trick for Carolyn, and she screams and runs out of the room because it's so impossible, the trick. And I look at the Sunday page, and I realize we've accidentally just acted it out. She has just run screaming from the room the same way Mamselle Hepzibah was screaming from the boat. In the
Oh,
post.
that's great.
Acted it out right there. So
Oh, that's terrific.
now the last punchline to this is, as you know, Mike, everybody in my life intersects somehow eventually.
Yeah, yes, of course.
That trick was designed and created by a man I did not know at the time, but later became one of my best friends, Max Maven. And Max Maven is the guest a week from today on this show.
Oh my God! Oh my God! See, you're going to tell that story. You have to tell that story.
I've told that story to him. Anyway. Anyway, so.
Oh, you're a doll. You are just a dear.
But that's our anyway. So that was the night first time Carolyn spent the night at my house.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
In the middle of the night, I woke up and I was real thirsty. So I said, "I'm going to go get some juice downstairs." I slipped out of bed without waking her up. I go down to my kitchen and I'm just getting some juice. And I look at the back porch. I feed feral cats in my backyard.
Feral cats?
Dining out of one of the cat dishes is a possum. The first time I'd ever seen a possum out there.
Oh, wait a minute.
Thought to myself, boy, I'm glad I'm not sleeping with the lady whose father did alley-oop.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That was meant to be. That was meant to be.
The possum was not wearing a striped shirt, but he was a possum.
Listen, possums can be scary. You know, one time I went when I was living in Dayton. I went to my garage to get my some dog food for my dog, and the lid of the trash can was open where I kept all the dog. I looked down and there was a possum, and he went like this. It's awful. I mean, I ran back in the house. You know, it's so crazy. You know.
Rob Bernath just wrote, "Peanuts dailies are minimum 8,000 to 10,000. Sundays can go for 25,000 to 30,000.
Oh my God!
Not sure what personalization does to value. Not that Mark would ever sell it." I actually had to promise Jeannie Schultz that if I ever decided
that's
to sell it,
sweet.
I would give her
That's so sweet.
first option on buying it for the. She's trying to buy back all the Peanuts.
Oh, you know, it was the fire that they had. She lost all those things.
Well, the museum didn't hit their home did.
Yeah,
the museum was not harmed, so they had most of the originals there, but still. Anyway,
she's so dear. She's a dear lady, you know.
She's a wonderfully dear lady. Yeah, I went up to that museum. Sergio and I went together to the Schultz Museum. And
did you? I've never been there. I've never been there.
Well, you know, if you go there, Mike,
yes.
Ask them to take you across the street to the skating rink.
Oh no, because that was made for his daughter, wasn't it?
Well, it was made. His studio was above that.
Oh my God!
I was up there twice. I was once up before they had the museum. I went up to spend a afternoon with him, and the skating rink was not functional then, or maybe he wasn't in that same. Anyway, but there's this beautiful little skating rink they have there, and when I was there, it was full of kids that were all under the age of 10, and it was just like Charlie Brown Christmas. All these little kids are skating in this skating rink.
Oh God, Mark!
And I was there to talk to Mr. Schultz about a project with Lee Mendelsohn that never happened. But but we had this. I just liked being at this. I mean, I love seeing the Schultz Museum.
Of course.
And I love seeing his studio then and now.
Isn't that sweet?
They preserved it for his studio.
Oh
but
my gosh!
For some reason, just enjoyed being at that skating rink.
Oh yes, of course.
It felt like I was in Peanuts for a moment. I was looking around for the kid doing the goofy dance.
Oh God!
A little ratty tree.
Oh, that's
And,
wonderful, Mark.
anyway,
I love that.
It was just
I
great.
love that. I love
Um,
that, dear person.
Okay, now we haven't talked much about Mother Goose and Grimm here.
Yes,
You started
yes.
Mother Goose and Grimm in '80. What was that year again?
In 84.
Okay. And
Yes.
it was a hit from the start, or it took a while.
Well, it seemed to be. I mean, for me, it was a hit. It had 250 newspapers immediately. You know, that was kind of amazing. What happened was I had gone to I was syndicated with United Features, and there was a guy named David Hendon who I loved, and he was the editor, one of the editors there, and he said, why don't you do a comic strip? And I had, people had been asking me that all for 4 years since Jeff McNally did his comic strip.
True,
and
true.
then so then they wanted a bunch of us other editorial cartoonists. I mean, to do a comic strip. So the time that I had decided to do a comic strip, I knew I wanted it to be about a dog. I grew up in a place in St. Louis, outside of St. Louis, a little area called Dogtown, still there, the little houses are beautiful, but everybody has a dog, and so I thought, well, whenever I do a comic strip, I'd like to do about a dog, and so when I decided to do the comic strip, I started out with a dog, and then I knew that I needed to have some sort of character with it, and so then I started reading about all characters that had dogs, the guy that lives on the island all by himself. His name, is a guy, and so and he had a little dog, so I thought, well, I'll do a guy.
Is that Conchi you're thinking about?
What?
Is you thinking of the newspaper strip Conchi? Is that what you're thinking of?
No, a literary guy. Lived on an island all by himself, and so I'll think of it. I just can't think of it right now, and so I started doing that. But then I did about 1,000, jokes about coconuts and stuff. So then I started looking around for other things, and I was looking around in a Mother Goose book, looking for Tom Thumb and different characters, and I saw Mother Goose, and she looked like this one character that I had drawn with the dog, who lived on a park bench outside of the White House, and then those became too political, but the character looked like this drawing of Mother Goose that I saw. I thought, well, Mother Goose, why don't I do Mother Goose and the dog? And then I thought about for the next day, and then Grimm would be a Mother Goose and Grimm, because Grimm is like a grungy kind of a dog, and he eats out of trash cans and chases cars and stuff like that. So I did up this strip, and then I gave a bunch of them to my friend David Hendon, who was at United Features, and he said, well, now what would you like to have for this? I said, well, if you want me to do 6 months worth, I should be paid for that. And he said, well, how much? And I gave him a figure, and he said, out of here, get out of here. We don't need that. So he threw it at us and told me and my lawyer to leave. And so we left, and I was back home, and I was wondering if I should do it. And the next day, it came out that they had turned me down, and then the Tribune called up, and they said, can we come and sign the contract? I'll pay anything. So they came, and a guy named Bob, a great guy, came and gave me a contract, and I signed it, and I was with him for 10 years, and so I loved it.
Okay. It's a great strip. I understand it was made into a Saturday morning cartoon show.
Yes, I heard that it was, and yeah. I heard that this this Mark, this crazy guy, wrote it, and that's how you and I got to know each other.
That's right.
And
Yes.
it was a great experience. I remember coming in almost every week. I would fly in and stay at your house or stay at a hotel, and then you would show me what you were drawing. Then we would go audition the actors, and I met Howie Morris, and I met a bunch of people.
I remember a day when I was bringing in Stan Freberg to do a voice, and I looked around, and Mike was gone. I said, "Oh, by the way, Stan Freberg's coming in today," and then I turned, and Mike was gone, and I didn't know where he'd gone. And what it turned out was he ran out of the building, and he started running down the streets nearby around the recording studio looking for roses.
I did. I got a bunch.
And he got rose petals. So when Freberg arrived,
I started dropping them in front of him.
Rose petals in his bag. Yes.
Oh,
we
Lordy.
had great fun doing that. That
was great.
They spent one of the things that I loved about doing that strip, that cartoon show, apart from the fact that I got to hang out with you, and we had some wonderful meals and wonderful
That was
time.
great. I love that.
Lee Mendelson was our producer, and he just left us alone. The network left us alone.
I know.
And
it was
at
great.
one point, I was saying to Lee, it's a shame that we can't we're going to be having people imitate Mike's drawing style, but it's a shame we can't get that real thick and thin line he uses, because they Xerox cells, so you have these thin lines.
Yes.
He said, "Let me find out how much it would cost." And he calls you up, and he says, "I just checked with the animation studio to imitate do the thick and thin lines on the strip will cost us like an extra $20,000 an episode." And he said, I told him to go ahead.
Oh my God!
So he
Isn't that amazing?
$20,000 a show for 13 shows.
Isn't that amazing?
Because you work with markers and brushes. And they did that. At least the kind of producer who would do that.
He was so dear. He was such a dear man. Such a dear man.
You remember he flew us in for this party he had.
I remember the party.
Okay. And we were all staying at a hotel in beautiful suites. Lee paid for everything.
Oh, man.
And then we had to go that night to a country club for the actual party.
Yes.
And you and I went on the bus. There was they'd hired buses.
Of course.
So we're on the bus, and Tommy Smothers was on the bus too, because he had done stuff. And Tommy starts telling the bus driver how to get there, and he got us hopelessly lost.
Isn't that a riot?
Yeah, and we're like yelling at Tommy, "No wonder your mother used to like Dickie better," And so we get to this country club,
yes,
and we're heading for the ballroom, and there's a bar outside it where, which is not part of the country club, and it's a bar where if you wanted to drink there, you had to pay money. If you went into the actual
it was free.
it was free, but this bar was not affiliated with the luncheon. And standing at the dinner, rather, and standing at the bar were Charles Schultz and Jim Davis.
Oh my God!
Do you remember this?
Yes, I do remember that.
Walked in, and these two men are standing there, and we looked at them, and we went, "They're fighting over who's going to pick up the check." and Jim laughed.
You are so dear.
Mr. Schultz gave me the nastiest look.
Oh, you are so dear. Oh God, you're so.
Anyway,
funny.
it was so funny there, and it was a lovely little party, and Lee paid for it. I don't know. The moment I really remember is Lee had brought in everybody who ever worked with him. And he had like a receiving line almost, and he's saying, "Mark, I want you to meet, this is Harry Schmidlap. He was the cameraman on my first documentary in 19."
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
It goes like this. Listen how it went for me. Maybe you didn't. He goes, "And now this is Sam Fenstermacher. Sam was the assistant grip and film editor on my first documentary."
Oh my God.
And then the next one, he goes, "And Mark, this is Willie Mays. And then this is..."
Oh my God.
And I did like, "Willie Mays?" He had Willie Mays there. And he introduced him just like, a grip on one of his films.
That's amazing. Oh,
and
man. How cool is that?
Going,
oh, my God. Willie Mays? Oh, my God. That's great.
Anyway.
Well, he had also the piano player that did all the Joel Schultz stuff.
Oh, yes. Vince Carone, he was there. Yeah.
He was there. I got the chance to meet him and stuff. But I didn't know
had,
Willie Mays was in the audience.
Yeah.
That's great.
he was there. We had, Lee passed away earlier this year, and
Yes.
I flew up to San Francisco for the speak at the funeral,
Yes.
and David Benoit, who is now the guy who does the piano playing for all the pianists, he was playing he did a little concert. He did like a little 20-minute concert.
Oh, isn't that great?
And he was playing Linus and Lucy, and everybody just in the room just started crying. Never heard him a beautiful song than him playing Linus and Lucy.
Oh, isn't that
at Lee's memorial service?
Oh, is that fabulous?
And it was so
I love that.
And then I got up there. I had to follow that, and I got up. And I thanked him for opening for me.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway, I wish you'd been there for that, because it was a very nice.
I wish I had. I wish I had. What a treat.
Actually, and also, Mike, I always like hanging out with you. That's the other thing.
I love hanging out with you, young man. You are just amazing. You're just
young
amazing.
man. I'm 68, Mike. Don't call me a young man. We are just about out of time, except that we've had my friend. I want to end this with my friend Tom Galloway has asked about 4 times in the chat room.
Yes.
I'd love to hear Mike tell the stories of his Superman costume. I've heard him tell 2. One about his newspaper and one about his daughter.
Yes.
Would you tell one or the other or both?
Of course. My wife made me. Well, I've had a Superman suit since my mom. My mom made me my first one when I was like 8 years old, and it was before anybody else had a Superman suit. Kids would
George Reeves had a Superman.
Well, yes, but that was about it, and kids didn't have it. They weren't selling them for kids yet, and so my mom made me a real one. I mean, with the S looked exactly like the S and all that, and I couldn't believe it. It was like the Shroud of Turin. I was afraid to touch it. It was so real, and so I took it up to my bedroom. We were living on Gregg Avenue, Dogtown at the time, and I hung it up, and I just would look at it every day. I'd get up and look at my Superman suit and stuff, and so I had Superman suits all through grade school and then high school, and then my wife made me one when I was living in Dayton, and then I thought, I wear glasses. I have LASIK, but I wear glasses, and I have a suit and tie, but Clark Kent has a suit and tie and wore glasses. And so why don't I take the Superman suit down to the newspaper, and then I could be Superman, and then everybody would be amazed. So I went down, and I went to the governor's office where we had the big meeting. We had a large meeting with everybody sitting at a big table, rows and rows of books and stuff. And this is Governor Cox, who started the Dayton Daily News. And so I got there early, and before anybody else was gonna get there, I changed into my Superman suit, and I went over to the windows, and I was thinking about I would just stand behind the drapes, but the drapes came down this far. I mean, this far off the ground, and you could see my feet, red boots. And so I looked outside. We're on the 3rd floor of the Dayton Daily News building, but they had a big ledge, and there's pillars, little pillars. And so I got out on the 3rd floor, and I lowered the window down, and it was like right after Halloween, and so it was cold in Dayton, and so I was listening at the window for all the people to come in, and when the drapes were shut, and I'm listening, and nobody's coming, and I'm waiting, and nobody can see me down on the ground because there's large, it's a large pillar, large thing to stand on, and but I look across the street after about 20 minutes, and the whole row of 3rd floor windows are lined with secretaries who say, "Hi, Superman! Hey, hi!" One of those jump, and so I'm waving at him, and I'm waiting for the people to come in. So the people came in, and they started sitting down, and then I waited till everything quieted down, and then they started talking, and then I started lifting up the window. This was an old window, 1930 building, raising the window. It was squeaking, and I got in between the window and the drapes, and then and my feet were about above where the tables were, so I was above. And so then I threw back the drapes like this, and they literally sucked the air out of this whole, I said, I'm sorry, I'm late, but I had lousy weather over Cleveland, Well, they talked about that, forever. But the story, so I would have it here, but I don't have it here. I have it back in Florida. But my daughter Marcy, who didn't really, when she was 13, from 13 to 16, she didn't like me very much. And so we would just growl at each other. She would come down the steps and I'd go, hello. And she'd say, hello, like this, like this. So the only time she would ever talk to me, Mark, was when she left her paper at home. And she would call up and she wouldn't talk to me. I mean, if I were laying dead on the floor, she would step over. She wouldn't talk to me. But she would call me in the morning and she would say, Dad, I left my paper on my bed. Can you bring it as fast as possible? And so I would bring it like a fool and give it to her and stuff like that. So this one day, we had just had one of those like this kind of, and she called him and says, Dad, I have my term paper right on my bed, and can you please bring it and be here as fast as possible? I said, I sure will, darling. And so I'm upstairs and I'm putting on my Superman suit, and my wife comes in and she says, what are you doing? I said, you don't want to know. Just leave the room. Just leave the room. So I put on my Superman suit and then I attached my the cape, and then I put on my raincoat and I go down to the car and I take a paper and I drive down to her school. Now this is before 9/11. Okay, so this is so I come in this raincoat but I have these red boots on and the cape is like about 2 feet behind me draping, and I said, where is Marcy Peters' room? And they said, let me see, she's about 2 rooms down there. I said, thank you very much. And so I walked on. They don't think about it. There's a guy in a Superman suit wearing a bench coat. And so I came up to the door. Came up to the door, big wooden door. And there's a pane of glass about this wide from here down to about my crotch and about this wide. And so I take off my my raincoat. I knock on the door, and all you can see is the big Superman, and then Superman pants and stuff. And I knock on the door, and all you can hear is a girl on the inside saying, "Oh shit!" And so the teacher comes, Mr. Hershey. He opens the door, and he knows me. He says, "Why, Superman? What are you doing?" I said, "Mel, Mr. Hershey, do you have a little girl here named Marcy Peters?" He says, "Yes." I said, "Well, she wanted me to bring this paper to you as fast as I could, as fast as possible. So here it is." And well, I look over and she's underneath her desk. I mean, she crawled underneath her desk, and well, it took another 2 years for her to speak to me again. Now, she didn't talk to me for a year before that, and then after that, So, but it's one of the joys of having a Superman suit, anytime you wanted it.
That's great. Mike, this has been more fun than I even thought it would be. This has been a great time.
Mark, I love you so much, my dear.
I love you too, Mike. Let me thank everybody in the chat room. Joe Music is asking me if there's a chance for a DVD of the Mother Goose and Grimmy shows.
Of course. I'll send you one, and you send it to me.
I've got one. I mean,
that's great. Yes, that's great. Of course.
I think you got your copies from me.
Oh, that's right.
Drop me an email, and I'll see if I can find you one. And I want to thank everybody else in the chat room who's stuck. I think all the people asking questions stuck with us the whole 90 minutes here.
Oh God, that's great. I love you.
More than that.
I love you. I love you, dear boy.
I do these things because I want to spend time here. If I just called you cold, Mike, and said, "Hey, can I just talk to you for 90 minutes?" That might not happen. But here I got 98 minutes of Mike, and I got to see your face and got to see you again, and
I love you, dear boy.
Don't see enough of each other, and that's one of the reasons I'm going. Well, Mike, you're an amazing guy. You're
the real amazing guy, Mark. Mark Evanier.
We're going to sound like Sammy and Company here. This thing, no. you have just done this wonderful work for so many years, and if you just cheer up and start having enjoying yourself, it would be, because you're such a dour, sad.
Well, we used to see me when I can't think of an idea. I'm like, oh God, I can't, but it's
Anyway,
great. It's great.
okay.
Thank you, Mark.
To everyone who's watching this, this show will repeat on YouTube ad nauseum forever, or for a long time, starting right in a moment or so. And please join us next week when I have another fascinating person here for this. And please spread the word. When you see me plugging these talks, would you just please forward them?
Marion, you gotta come here and watch this. Okay, you have to come here now. And okay, I get it.
She can watch the whole show from the beginning. She like she doesn't get enough of you. She's got to listen to the same story over and over again.
Mark, you're
all
wonderful.
right. Thank you,
Mike.
Dear
boy.
I will talk to you soon. Stay right there for a second while I sign off. Don't leave me. Okay. Thank you, folks.